Hello and welcome to kiiff.com. This is a video all about website mobile friendliness. What I have pulled up here is Google's mobile friendly test webpage, which allows you to enter a URL and test whether that page is mobile friendly or not. We're going to test wikipedia.org, so we just type that in. And click Run Test. It will analyze the page and tell us whether or not our page is mobile friendly. So wikipedia.org, thankfully, is a mobile friendly page, and we can submit the results to Google or just be happy that our web page is mobile friendly. Now I want to talk about the significance of a mobile friendly web page and why it is something that you should care about for your website. So to do that, I have a couple Google Webmaster blog posts that I will narrate over, which talk about the significance of mobile-friendly websites. So the first one here is called Finding More Mobile-Friendly Search Results. And you can see that it was published in 2015, February of 2015. And even more significant though is that webmaster level is all. So it's talking to all website owners. It's not talking to specific high density traffic website owners. It's not talking about file sharing websites, social media websites. It is talking about every webmaster. A webmaster is simply someone who owns and manages a website on the internet. So when Google puts out a post like this, webmaster level all, you know it's something very important that you need to consider. So in this post, it talks about giving more priority in the search to mobile-friendly websites. In particular, when something is searched on a mobile device, mobile-friendly websites are going to pop up in the search over non-mobile friendly websites. And as I mentioned, this post came out in 2015. This has only gotten more prevalent as the years have gone by, where more relevant and mobile friendly websites are coming up on searches than their non-mobile friendly counterparts. So this is a very important post to consider for any level webmaster. The other post that Google put out was in 2014. Just a few months earlier, we were talking February 2015, and now it's November 2014, so just a few months earlier. Google put out a post called Helping Users Find Mobile-Friendly Pages. Again, webmaster level all, and this one is sort of a hint at what came in that February 2015 post. So this one was talking about mobile-friendly websites and what the characteristics of a mobile-friendly website are. So uses text that is readable without zooming, avoids software that is not common on mobile devices like Flash. Mobile devices can't run Flash. And sizes content on the screen so users don't have to scroll horizontally or zoom. We've all been on those websites on our mobile phone where we have to pinch or scroll to the left or right in order to see the content on the website. Places links far enough apart so that the correct one can be easily tapped. So these are fairly basic things, and a lot of times when we visit a website that is mobile friendly, we take for granted that we have these characteristics of the site. However, many webmasters are still owning and operating a site that is not mobile friendly. And it's interesting here on this post too that they talk about if you want to make sure that your page meets the mobile friendly criteria, you could check it with the mobile friendly test, which is what I was just going through in the beginning of this video. Also read their webmaster's mobile guide. But then it also talks about how-to guide for third-party software like WordPress, Joomla, in order to migrate your website hosted on a CMS. which is a very interesting bullet point here for coming out in 2014 when it talks about WordPress and Joomla, because those content management systems did not always support mobile friendliness. Many of them do now. You hear a lot about it now where, okay, if you want a mobile friendly website, just go to WordPress, pick a theme that you like, probably find it for free, install it, and once you configure it, it's already mobile friendly. It wasn't always that way. And as I mentioned, there are still many websites on the internet that are not mobile friendly. So between these two posts right here, just shows that your website is taking a hit on being ranked in Google search because it's not mobile friendly. So the next thing I want to talk about is the mobile usability report that came from Google, as was mentioned in those blog posts as well, which tells you about errors when you check your web page for mobile usability. So these elements here talk about what are the main problems that your website has when a mobile device is trying to view your web page. So just go through these and explain them in a little bit more detail and elaborate where more details are needed. So Flash usage says most mobile browsers don't render Flash-based content. So you think about certain animations and videos even to some extent are not able to be rendered on a mobile device. So either you have to have a different replacement for that on your mobile device, or you have to take it out completely. So you also have to watch how that affects what the web page looks like, right? Because it takes away from the total overall look of that web page. The next three are all about viewport. So viewport not configured, you have a fixed width viewport, or your content is not sized to viewport. And to summarize those 3 points, I would reference the Responsive Web Design Basics, which is a guide that came out from Google talking about responsive web design. And when it talks about viewport, this is what it's talking about here. So again, we talk about needing to pinch or scroll left to right to read content. And this is what it's talking about. So you have one where the viewport is not set. So it's just trying to show that entire web page. And then you have one where the viewport is set, and you can see that you can read the entire section. It's almost like it zooms it in for you. Again, you have viewports that are set to a fixed width. So depending on the size of the mobile device, a fixed width might be okay, but it's not on all mobile devices. For example, this talks about a fixed width element on a Nexus 5 is the one on the right, Nexus 5, and then you have an iPhone here on the left. So iPhone's screen's a little bit smaller than the Nexus 5, and you can see that it sort of cuts off on the iPhone. There are a couple characters here along the right side that are just barely cut off. Whereas if you looked at your website on the Nexus 5, you go, oh, it looks great, it's mobile friendly. Well, it's really not on every mobile device. So what they're saying is this is fixed width, and the recommendation is to set it to a percentage value. So you would go into your CSS width and would change things. Instead of having a fixed width, you would just use a percentage value. So you would say that I want this to take up 80% or 100% or something like that. And then as long as you have some small margins in there, which nearly every div class would have one for text, you would be fine on every mobile device. versus if you just have the pixel width set for the elements on your web page. So then the last two here, small font size and touch elements too close. So we've been over small font size, pinch to zoom or scroll left and right to read the font, very hard to read, and then touch elements too close. So this is talking about navigation menus on the website, where when you visit the website on your mobile phone, the navigation is either all overlapped together and you can't touch the right one, or they are too small and your finger actually touches more than one navigation link at the same time. So Google's web crawler, the Googlebot, can actually detect all these things and runs its own mobile usability report essentially on your website. And according to, since 2015, your website has been being punished, so to speak, for not being mobile friendly. So I hope you all learned something from this video, and if your web page is not mobile friendly already, I hope this inspires you to create a mobile friendly website. So thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.